What is up, YouTube? Welcome to Parker Goes Carnivore, where we talk all things carnivore. I'm your host, Ryan Parker, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about my success and trials and tribulations on the carnivore diet for an entire year. That's right, last year I did a carnivore diet for the entire duration of 2021, and I'm here to share my success and my story with you, and I hope it resonates with you. We have a lot to cover today, so let's go get it. If you're just finding me now, this is the perfect episode. This is my first YouTube video, and I'm here to go through my backstory, how I found the carnivore diet, what changes I did to implement the carnivore diet to make sure that it was successful, and then what tools I used to cook my food and make my drinks, and then just a general overall view of the weight loss that I had with my change in my overall health. Also what mental health tools that I used to complete this journey. I also want to share some issues that I encountered along the way. You know, with all things positive, there are negatives, of course. But I figured the best way to get this out into the public is to just do it. So here we are. I wanted to start first by sharing my backstory. Who I am, where I come from, my fitness level, my diets before finding the carnivore diet. So I am a 38-year-old male. I am a building engineer for a university out here in California. I have always struggled with my weight, with my confidence, and because of that, there's many ailments that became present in my life that were just not needed. And I suffered from anything from seasonal depression, from some arthritis, to gaining a lot of weight. I was very, very, very susceptible to gaining weight, but I also could lose it pretty easily as well. So I've always struggled with my weight. Like I was saying, my diet has always fluctuated. It's changed so many times. I grew up with the standard American diet, the SAD diet. Lots of carbs, lots of sugar. We also did eat some fast food, but I had home cooked meals quite a lot as well. But then once I moved out on my own, it was just a disaster. I mean, I was eating so much, just, I guess, junk food, you could say, pizzas and burritos and fast food and, bar food. I was just constantly eating that. And then, then I would go on health kicks and basically starve myself eating 300 calories every couple hours and mostly carbs and work out an excess amount. But I can't do that anymore. I mean, I'm sure I could work out a ton, but, that's not going to fix your diet. You can't outwork a poor diet. It's as simple as that. Even though I tried and I was successful because I was younger, I've tried the vegetarian diet, I've tried the pescatarian diet, I've been vegan, just exploring my options and seeing what works best for me. And all of those came with numerous issues. A lot would be sugar carb dependent, a lot would be overeating, and a lot would be just general cravings. I would never be fully satisfied with any of those diets. And then, vegan, I was very, very gassy. It was so crazy how gassy I was. It was absurd, and I just knew something wasn't right. I worked with a nutritionist for a little bit, and she basically had me eat a whole bunch more protein. That was kind of the general rule. And so that kind of got me positioned for when my good friend Sean Dickey, he suggested the carnivore diet. This was in July 4th weekend of 2019. And when he first positioned it to me, I was like, whoa, that sounds pretty crazy. You know, micronutrients versus macronutrients, like that can't be right. Just like most people I tell, carnivore diet is they're pretty standoffish at first. But nonetheless, he sent me a whole bunch of articles and videos, and I did a little bit of research. You know, I trust Sean a lot. He's a good buddy of mine. He's always been kind of a health advocate for me. And so, you know, after about a month, I planned my way and signed up for ButcherBox, and then started the carnivore diet for a few months in 2019 with some great success. So before we get too far, let's talk about what is the carnivore diet, right? Because there are many different ways to define or describe carnivore diet, and there are some subcategories to those to the carnivore diet. But really, it's just animal products. You eat nothing but animal products. No vegetables, no fruits, no carbs, no sugar, just animal products. And so when I first started up, I was eating like beef jerky, no sugar, or like pork rinds, eggs, fish, pork, chicken, beef, lobster, shrimp. It was all on the table, and you know that can be defined as carnivore, all carnivore. There's also ketovore. There's beef and water only. There's hyper carnivore. There's so many different categories, but you know, don't get lost in it. As you eat and as you play with it, you'll learn what your body is best tailored for as far as one of the carnivore diets. I align myself more with beef and water, but I definitely eat everything else, but I prefer just beef and water and eggs. So yeah, that is carnivore. Eat only animal products. It's as simple as that. And that's why I really love this carnivore diet, is because of how mindless it is. You don't have to count macros. You don't have to count calories. Don't have to worry about ratios of fat, carbs to... It doesn't matter. I eat as much meat as I possibly can until I am completely full and satiated, and I stop eating. That's it. And if I get hungry again, guess what I eat? Now it has evolved. I mean, we'll talk about this more in the video, but now I'm kind of just eating one big meal a day and maybe a second meal, smaller, just a snack, what I consider snacks, a few hours later, and that's about it. But yeah, I definitely align with myself more on a beef water plan with some eggs, and then, chicken wings and pork chops or ribs, they're all just bonus. So yeah, that's how I would define carnivore. Everybody's going to be different on how they define it and how they use it and implement it. ButcherBox. But that's where I'm at. And I also get chicken wings and chicken drums and bacon for free in every single box. It's pretty cool. ButcherBox, they always have a promotion, say like free bacon for life. So every box that you order, you get a pack of bacon in. Well, that's what I signed up for. And then they had a offer to other new members for 2 pounds of ground beef in every box. I also offered that same deal to existing members for a one-time fee. So boom, I had bacon and 2 pounds of ground beef in every single box for free. Then they offered a one-time fee for chicken wings, 3 pounds of chicken wings for like $39. So boom, hopped on that. And then also chicken drums. So in my current beef plan, I get my normal beef box, plus I'll get chicken wings, chicken drums, the ground beef, and the bacon in every single box for free. Great deal. I love ButcherBox. They're pretty solid. I've had no qualms with them whatsoever. I would definitely like to start doing more regenerative farming plans and buying like a quarter cow or a half cow. That's just where I've evolved, what I've evolved to. But yeah, that's ButcherBox, and that's what I do. I align myself more with beef and water carnivore, but I still have the chicken. I'll get pork chops or ribs. Actually, I have some ribs cooking on the smoker right now, just because I love it and it's enjoyable. Let's talk about spices and seasonings. Salt is pretty much the only thing you really need, but I mean, variety is the spice of life, right? So I do enjoy my seasonings and my rubs. Unfortunately, a lot of these seasonings and rubs do have carbs or some sugar or even some sunflower oil. I'm pretty sure they use it as a binder, but nevertheless, we're trying to get away from seed oils, and just refined seed oils for sure is definitely a killer. It's very inflammatory and they go rancid very easily when you cook them. Or they already come rancid because they've been pressed and exposed to such high heats already. But I have a full cabinet full of rubs. I love Meat Church. I love Kinder's. They're local here to the Bay Area. And so I do use them. You gotta live a little and you gotta learn what works best for you. And I definitely enjoy the seasonings a lot. Diet from Sean. I was on the beef, chicken, pork plan from Butcher Box, and how I went about it, I had pork rinds, sugar-free beef jerky as snacks. I was eating 2 to 3 meals a day. I would wake up and have my coffee. I put a little butter in it, which was a new thing. I knew of it. I've tried it a few times, but I wasn't consistent with it. And then I would have, bacon and eggs for breakfast, and then maybe a pork chop with some chicken wings on the side for lunch. And then dinner would be another meat thing, or I would just be munching on the beef jerky and the pork rinds. Plenty of water. And this worked well. I mean, I lost like 40 pounds in 3 months back in 2019. It worked well, but it didn't stick. I definitely didn't give myself a fighting chance. My mental game wasn't there, and this all came to a head in January of 2020 when I was involved in a massive dirt bike accident. I was on a roll. I was just flying along. I was doing good on the diet. I was losing weight. I was feeling great, but I didn't really give myself a chance to just focus and breathe and live in the moment. And I got ahead of myself, and I was in a very bad accident. It was a pretty traumatic accident. I didn't think it was going to be at first, but I have still not been on the dirt bike since January 2020. I am now just thinking that it's time to get back on the bike, but that wouldn't be possible without the carnivore diet for sure. But back to the story. This accident was pretty brutal, where I separated my muscle lining from my muscle fascia on a large portion of my butt, back, hip, all on my right side. I'll show you what that looked like the week of. Sorry, some graphic images coming up, but this is what my side looked like after the accident. As you can see here, I was blown up like a watermelon. I had intense bruising. I had formed this huge pocket called a seroma. And this seroma basically was just two soft tissue, it was a soft tissue cavity basically, and it was a sealed pocket. I needed multiple surgeries to get it cured. And this really took me for a loop and brought me back to eating the old ways and drinking a lot. This was now in the height of COVID, and I just got out of the health kick. I was miserable. I was hurting. I was in pain. I couldn't work out. I could barely even walk. And while I should have been on the carnivore diet and just continued on with just the diet, I went to a different place. Unfortunately, I let my addictions get the best of me, and 2020 was a very rough year for me. I definitely gained a whole bunch of weight. Not working out and not eating right, not taking care of myself. History repeated itself, and that accident was the catalyst to now something beautiful, because I have learned so much from that accident, and I'm very grateful for it. But I knew that I needed to fix myself. After I got all my surgeries completed, I got that seroma, that pocket drained, and then they injected me full of alcohol to inflame all those soft tissues, and then use compression. I wear these really tight compression shorts to scar over all that soft tissue. And long story short, it took 5 surgeries over the course of 4 months to get this cured. But I wasn't fully healed. That seroma was sealed and collapsed, which was great. That was what the surgeons and the doctors were most concerned about, was getting the soft tissue to scar over. But that left me with this pretty debilitating injury where I was not flexible at all. I had a lot of scar tissue. And it was very painful still. I still had this nice softball size swelling on my hip, and I was really overweight by this point. I was over 300 pounds, and I was just not happy. I was really miserable. And so I knew that the carnivore diet, was just right back over there. I could pick it up at any time, but I wasn't going for it. I was on a lot of pain meds, lots of Norco, ibuprofen, like these 800 milligrams. Luckily, I didn't get addicted to the Norco. I knew I could, but I was really, really responsible with it. I definitely went through a lot of them, but I knew that there was going to be a turning point where I said no more, and that happened. It was August of last year is when I said, okay, let's just keep the Norcos in the safe, and if you really need one, great. If not, oh well. And come probably November of 2020, I was just a wreck. I was definitely over 300 pounds. I was ordering DoorDash all the time, eating fast food. It was easy. I just craved it. I wanted it. I was drinking a ton. It was a very bad cycle. I would drink with my friends and get drunk, and then order bad food and eat it, and then just that cycle would go over and over and over again. It was horrible. I was miserable. I was not happy at all. And so that finally came to a head. I say that a lot, but these cycles, they always have these, this flow where you get to this very bottom point of your life where you just can't take it anymore, and you need a change, and then you break that cycle, and then you get back up again and you try again. And in December of 2020 was that cycle. I was just done. I knew I needed to change, and I wasn't healing from the Dirtbike accident anymore. Let me rephrase that. I had all the surgeries done, but my body wasn't healing itself with the leftover injury. The doctor's like, you're gonna have to heal on your own, but I wasn't giving myself a fighting chance. I was super overweight, and I wasn't taking care of myself. So in December, I decided that in January of 2021, I was gonna get back on the carnivore diet, and I was gonna do anything possible and everything possible to make it successful. And so I knew that my mental game had to be there. I knew that if I can give myself the correct tools, that it would help me stay successful on the carnivore diet. I knew it was going to be hard. I knew it was going to be a struggle, but I was going to go for it. And so the first week of January, well, first here, let's look at what I looked like on the first week of January. This is January 1st, 2021. This is me and my buddy Timmy. We went out to the Sonoma coast and had a last hoorah, I guess you could say, drinking and partying and having a good time. It was a gorgeous day out, but man, I was definitely overweight. Look at this. This is a body full of burritos, pizzas, beers, right? And this, I knew after this day I was going to change my life forever. And so what I did was that for the first few days of that first week of January of 2021, I started making some very small changes. Every morning I had a new routine, basically. Every morning I woke up and I made a gratitude list. This was either in my head or I wrote them down. I found it helpful to write them down. But that evolved into something else. We'll get to that. But I made a gratitude list. Everything I was grateful for. Just 5 things that I was grateful for. Whether it be my dog, my family, the house that I live in, the food that I eat, just, being alive, whatever the case may be. I'd find myself being grateful for the things that was right next to me because it's the easiest to just, think of. Like, I'm grateful for the shower that I'm taking right now. Anyways. Grateful list. I started making my bed first thing when I woke up. I have a beautiful 13-and-a-half-year-old little dog, and she sleeps in longer than I do. But I still started making the bed over her just because I needed it clean and get my mind set for the day. I implemented cold showers. I definitely want to do full cold tank dunks, with ice and really cold, like in the 30 degrees. But I figured I have a cold shower available, so let's do that. So I would wake up, I would stretch, drink some water, do a gratitude list, take a hot shower, do my normal shower, and then once I was done with that hot shower, I would turn the hot all the way off, and then I would hit the cold shower. And my goal was to do it for a minute. Let me tell you, the first time I did a cold shower, I could not move. I was just frozen there. Literally frozen. I was shaking. It was just hitting my chest. I couldn't move at all. I was like paralyzed. I was trying to get my breathing under control, but I couldn't. Over time, quickly, like within a week or so, I figured out that, hey, it wasn't that bad and I could kind of breathe through it. I could kind of move around. There's still areas that I wouldn't let hit, my armpits or my face or my head. It was way too cold. But the advantages of the cold shower is pretty profound, and it helps with the lymphatic system, which my injury was basically a lymphatic injury at this point. I damaged my lymph nodes, and I had this swelling of soft tissues, and doing a cold shower shocks that, and it tightens everything up. It lowers your heart rate, and it was pretty nice. It definitely has evolved. I love cold showers now. I look forward to them every day. I'm sitting there singing. I'm dancing around. I could get my head and feet wet, or head and neck wet, and anything, armpits, everything's good. So I started doing cold showers, and then I would go on walks with my dog. So these are really 4 easy things that I implemented every day in the first week of January 2021. Anybody could do this, right? Super simple. Went out there and I just did it. Then I also started listening to the Rivero, at the time it's called Meet RX, podcast. And there's other people with success stories. And every time I would go walk my dog, I would listen to this podcast, and just kind of geared myself up for this carnivore diet way of life. And then the last final thing that I did was I downloaded the Calm app, the Calm meditation app, and I started doing 10-minute daily meditations. I would like to think I did it every day, but looking at my history, it was probably more like 3 times a week at the beginning. So this was what I did for the first week of January 2021. Then on the second week of January 2021, I did all of that. So we're talking the gratitude list, making the bed, hot and cold showers, daily walks, and then listening to the podcast plus meditation. Then I started incorporating the carnivore diet along with all of those things. Oh, I forgot one big thing. I guess this goes along with the carnivore diet. 0 alcohol. For the first month of January of 2021, I said no alcohol, nothing. Just water and seltzer waters. Oh man, I drank a lot of seltzer waters to replace that beer and alcohol. I love Waterloo's, La Croix, however you say it, and then the Kirkland, Costco seltzer waters. Great value. So I'd buy those with a bulk load and just drink that. And then I was back on the carnivore diet. So away I went on that. But I wanted to touch back in July of 2019, or the fall of 2019, when I first got on the carnivore diet. I wanted to talk about my adjustment period. So when I first went on the carnivore diet and I was doing that, 0 carb carnivore, my body had a big adjustment period. Well, I shouldn't say big adjustment period. It was only one thing. I had diarrhea for 2 weeks. It was pretty bad too. This is when your body's getting fat adapted, and it's going from burning sugar and carbs to burning fat. Meat is so nutritionally dense, and fat is so water soluble, it absorbs into your intestines. And if your body's not used to that, anything excess is just going to get expelled really quick. So it's kind of like doing a cleanse plus getting your microbiome, your gut biome, adjusted to burning fat and using fat and absorbing fat. And so that was like really eye-opening. I was like, oh boy, what's going on? But after about 2 weeks, it was like, boom, light switch went off, zero diarrhea. And the cool thing was, I had zero gas. Like, I wasn't farting anymore. Wild. Didn't have any indigestion, no bloating. It was really cool. I was like, what is this? This is awesome. You know, I maybe have one little gas when I wake up, and that was it. I was like, huh, this is amazing. And, you know, I started noticing my belly flattening out, and I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so bloated. So when I picked back up the carnivore diet in 2021, I didn't have that adjustment period. That adjustment period was completely already done because I had been through it back in 2019. So when I picked it back up in 2021, because I was eating so much meat still during 2020, I just had a lot of fast food and pizzas and burritos and beers. There was no adjustment period. It was seamless, flawless, and I hope you have the same experience. So what I did in 2021 for the carnivore diet, I went out to Costco and I bought a Traeger smoker. It's a pellet grill. It's the Silverton 620. I'll put a link down in the bio. And I use that a lot. Also tools that I use to make this carnivore diet successful is the Ninja Foodi grill. Here, check this thing out. I use this thing daily, guaranteed. Whether it's cooking steaks, whether it's cooking sausages, chicken drums, chicken wings, this thing is amazing. I highly suggest everybody get a Ninja Foodi grill. You definitely don't need one to be on the carnivore diet. I'm just letting you know what I use. I also use an Instapot. Instapot are great for hard boiling eggs or making anything, any meat tender. So if you want to shredded chicken, perfect for that. If you wanted to do like a pork butt and make some carnitas, you can do that. I just smoke it now, but the Instapot ribs, oh my gosh, they're so tender and they're so amazing. They're so quick to make too. It takes like 20 minutes. So the Instapot's a great tool. Every single morning I drink coffee. And I drink coffee with about a tablespoon and a half of butter in it, plus two scoops of collagen. Collagen peptides. I get these collagen peptides from Costco. I love it. It's really dissolvable in hot water, so in coffee it's perfect. I usually have my coffee about an hour and a half after I wake up. You know, I let my hormones wake myself up naturally, usually around 6:30 in the morning now. You know, my circadian rhythm's really natural, and then I don't use coffee to wake myself up. I wake myself up naturally, and then about an hour and a half after I wake up, I have my butter coffee with my collagen, and I use an AeroPress. If you don't know what an AeroPress is, this is what it looks like. It makes a really good cup of coffee. It's clean. It's easy to clean up. I love it. I use it every single day without fail. And that's about it. Only one time a day though. I usually have just one big cup of coffee in the morning with butter and collagen, and that's it. I also use this handheld mixer. This is great for stirring in the butter and adding some air and frothing it up a little bit. It also cools down the coffee if it's too hot. So I use this after I put my butter and my collagen in my coffee. This is the Foodville one off of Amazon. Works pretty well. What other tools do I have? Oh, I use an UV glove and cast iron pans. So an UV glove is just a glove that you can touch really hot things. I wear that when I use my cast iron. I have 2 cast iron pans. They're both seasoned really well. Sometimes I'm using both and the Foodi at the same time, and I got a whole production going on. Other times I just use it to make eggs. I use it definitely every single day. I use my cast iron to do some fried or poached or over easy eggs. And then I also have these grease scrapers. They're made by Lodge, the same people that make one of my cast iron pans. And these are great for cleanup with the Ninja Foodi or with the cast iron. You just scrape the grease, throw it away, or you can save it for later and cook with it. And the last thing that I use is a Thermapen. Thermapens are the best instant thermometer, digital thermometer. I love it. I use it every day on my meat. When I'm cooking my steaks or my ribs or whatever I'm cooking, I definitely use a Thermapen every day. Now, these are all the tools that I use. Does that mean you need all of these tools to be on the carnivore diet? Absolutely not. You can do it with probably just a cast iron pan and somehow to make coffee. I mean, you don't even need to do coffee, right? I enjoy my coffee, so I drink it. But yeah, you don't really need all these tools. I'm just sharing what I use to make my journey fun and successful. And so if I had some pointers, I would say definitely pick up a Ninja Foodi grill, an Instapot, and then if you have the space or whatever, a smoker, because it's just so much fun smoking some meats. All right, so those are all the tools that I have. I bought the Traeger just at the beginning of the year. Really going full force into the carnivore diet. I'm doing the meditations. I'm doing the cold showers, walking the dog, listening to Meat RX. And then I started a TikTok. Now, I had no idea how the platform worked. I played with it a little bit, but I didn't know how to make videos. I knew, it was like a voiceover dubbing app. It was hilarious, but I wanted to learn the platform, so I had this great idea, which I thought was a great idea, was to start weekly weigh-ins on TikTok every single Wednesday. Weigh-in Wednesdays. And I did this to keep myself accountable and to learn the platform. I'm super grateful that I did decide to do that because it did really, really well with keeping myself accountable. I mean, I knew I was going to possibly be seen by millions of people, so I wanted to make sure that, on Wednesday I was good. I wouldn't allow myself to overindulge on Monday and Tuesday because I knew it wouldn't pay off on the scale on Wednesday, so it was all encompassing. Looking back at it now, the TikTok platform was not the correct platform for weekly weigh-ins. TikTok has many other, I have many other ideas for media content on the platform that will work, but I feel that YouTube is definitely a better platform. And so that's why I'm here today sharing my story with you, because I want to hold myself accountable, but I also feel that people can follow me and learn something from me, and I can finally give back to the community or people that are looking for something other than what they're doing. And I just feel this calling for this channel. I feel like I've had such great success on the carnivore diet, and it has been such a powerful, life-changing journey over the last year for me that I needed to give back. So clearly I hold the carnivore diet in high regard, and I'm here to share my story and give back. And so that's why I'm here doing the YouTube channel with you today. I started doing the zero carb carnivore again, and quickly my palate evolved, I guess you could say. It definitely evolved to the sense where I was craving more muscle meat, more beef instead of the chicken and pork. While I like the taste of pork, not so much the chicken, I just didn't feel fulfilled off of it. And definitely the pork rinds and the zero sugar, jerkies and the condiments. I love Primal Kitchen condiments, but I found myself using less of them as the weeks went on, where I was actually just craving the fat and the natural flavors from the meat rather than introducing a completely different source of flavor additives, right? So whether it's steak sauce or creamy ranch or whatever it is, I didn't like it. I really went away from that pretty quickly. You know, the pork rinds, I stopped eating those, and the jerky, stopped eating that. I will go get those here and there just for fun, just to have something else to break up the cycle. But for the first few months, it's kind of evolved into just eating beef. Beef, eggs, and water. And then, of course, like I said, in the butcher box, I get the chicken wings and chicken drums, and the bacon. So I had those. But I changed my butcher box plan from the chicken, pork, and beef to just beef. And it took until about June of 2020 where I realized that maybe the cheese wasn't best for me. And, I would find myself just taking a block of Tillamook cheese and just cutting off a hunk and eating it at night. Not good. I mean, it was just that addictive feeling like, oh, I'm just eating cheese, eat cheese. So I cut it out. I was also getting pretty mucusy from it. And I just thought maybe I should try it up and just get rid of the cheese and see how it went. It went really well. So, that's kind of how the palate and diet evolved to where now I'm just eating pretty much steaks, brisket, beef ribs, what else? And lots of eggs. That's pretty much all I eat every day. And then anything else is just bonus. Whether the chicken wings are bonus, whether the pork chops are bonus. So let's talk about my weight loss. So the first 4 months, I lost 40 pounds. Very successful. It was pretty much the same trend I had back in 2019. The first meal that I had that wasn't carnivore came after about 90 days. I was at my sister-in-law's 40th birthday party, and I finally had something that wasn't pure carnivore, and I handled it pretty well. I enjoyed it. I didn't let it ruin my outlook on how I have to be this strict carnivore for the year. I definitely know now that consistency is key, and being on carnivore, I've learned that if you're really strict on it, it works wonders. It works quickly and aggressively, and it changes your life really quick, really fast. But if you start incorporating other foods or drinks like beer or whatever back into the diet, it's going to screw you up really quick. So definitely, if you're thinking about doing it, try to be as just consistent as you can. You are going to go through these changes, and you're going to crave sugar because the ultimate goal is to get rid of the sugar. And if you can do that, then you'll have a profound experience. I guarantee it, just like I did. So as the months evolved, like I said, the diet kind of went and evolved into pretty much just big steak every day with a whole bunch of eggs, and I was happy. And then whatever, if I was hungry later on, I would have a little bonus meal, whether it's, like I said, some chicken wings or some pork chops or whatever the case may be. That was in my refrigerator or freezer. And then my fitness level. So I started incorporating some light yoga in the first month of January, and I was doing this like twice a week. I used to do yoga. I used to go to yoga classes at work, and I enjoyed it. I wasn't great by any means. I was still pretty much a beginner, but I was really, really tight at the beginning of this year. Come, I say April, I was doing really good at yoga. My scar tissue on my injury was working itself out. I couldn't believe how more flexible I was, how stronger I was getting. I was down a whole bunch of weight, so that was really exciting. Like I said, 40 pounds. And I started really thinking that there was going to be a next level coming soon. And then that's when my buddy Timmy Harris, he got me introduced to his personal trainer, which he goes to the gym, Beast Fitness, out in San Jose, California. And I got to meet Roger, the personal trainer there, and what really struck a chord with me with meeting him is during my buddy Timmy's birthday was he like nerded out on my dirt bike injury. He wanted to know everything about my dirt bike injury and what was causing it, and the fact that he cared so much, I was like, oh, this is my man. Like, this is my guy. I'm going to go to him. He's going to definitely help me out. And I'm so glad I did. So in May of 2021, I was able to go to the gym and work out twice a week doing strength training. In January 2021, if you told me I was going to go to the gym in May, I would not think it was possible. I was in still that much pain. I was still that swollen that I could not do it. But come May of 2021, I was ready for it. And that's the ticket. That was so powerful for me. Doing the strength training with being on the high protein, 0 carb, 0 sugar diet, it was so empowering, and just that little change just really helped tremendously. And so now I was doing yoga. I could actually get on the spin bike for the first time and spin, which was really exciting because I hadn't been able to do that for 2 years or a year and a half. And then the strength training. So along with the physical aspect, the mental aspect, the daily habits, it was just all coming together. Another thing that I did, attended virtually the Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within event. And if you don't know who Tony Robbins is, look him up. He's pretty profound in the mental health wellness industry. He's pretty powerful. And attending that seminar was the perfect thing that I needed in my life at the perfect time. I learned a lot from that experience. I met a lot of cool people. But the biggest takeaway, which is kind of silly, but the biggest takeaway I had from that event was his priming exercise. So instead of doing the gratitude list in the morning, I started doing his Tony Robbins priming exercise, and you can find that on YouTube. I'll put a link down below. It's a brilliant idea for a YouTube video too, having somebody do an exercise every single day. He has millions of views on that video, which is awesome. And this priming exercise is really great because it uses gratitude, and then you envision yourself completing 3 goals and have already completed those 3 goals. So you live within that moment of completion of that goal, and it fires something off in your brain that I can't describe, but you get these emotions like you've already completed it. And then once you get done envisioning those 3 goals that you have, whether it's a goal that you needed to complete in a month or a year or a week, whatever, you envision yourself completing those goals. And then once you get done with that, then you back that up with some gifts and of some memories of good things and positive vibes that you've had throughout your life. And so that priming exercise was really, really critical for me, priming myself every morning and envisioning what I wanted to get done. And what I wanted to get done was lose weight. What I wanted to get done, I'm building a van, turning it into a moto van. So I wanted to work on the van and have all these great ideas for the van. And then the third thing is I'm a professional bagpiper, and I wanted to basically compete again and place. And these three things occurred multiple times when I was doing this priming exercise. And I pretty much completed all of those things, or I'm at least on the right path on all of those things. All right, so let's go over all of the amazing, wonderful things that has happened to me while being on the carnivore diet from my health perspective. Start off with the weight loss. For the course of 2021, I lost a total of 65 pounds. The highest that I reached was 75 pounds, gained some weight back, lost some weight, gained a whole bunch of muscle. I lost from 42.5% body fat down to 27%. So that was a tremendous amount. I'm thrilled with my body fat percentage. This is going off the Fitbit scale, which I have right behind me. They've discontinued that scale, so I don't know how much I trust those measurements. They seem to coincide pretty well, but it seems like when I do massive dumps of weight, my body fat goes up almost, and then it's almost opposite what I would imagine. Maybe that's the science, and I'm just don't know what I'm talking about here, which is mostly true. Let's see. Okay, so weight went from 65 pounds, or I went from 316 down to 251. My body fat percentage went from 42.5% down to 27. I had arthritis mainly in this ring finger here on my left hand, and a little bit in my middle finger on my left hand too. This was extremely noticeable when I started playing bagpipes. Again, this is my little chanter, and so finger dexterity is really important. And I started getting arthritis when I overused those muscles and those joints. That has completely gone. It is no longer in my life now because of the carnivore diet. I had seasonal depression. Every year around Thanksgiving time, I would start overeating, indulging in all the sweets, doing lots of drinking, and I wouldn't want to hang out with family and friends. It started off with, oh yeah, party with family and friends, to I don't want to hang out with family and friends, a decade later. This last past season, I was thrilled to be hanging out with family and friends. I couldn't wait to hang out with family and friends and just hang out and enjoy life with them. I had brain fog. I didn't know I had brain fog. Brain fog was lifted almost immediately. It was like within a week of pure carnivore at the very beginning, all of a sudden I was like firing on all cylinders in my brain. It was going for it. And with the help of meditation and yoga, I was able to control or let be all those thoughts and learn to what to listen and what not to. Okay, what else? Let's see. I had bloated gut issues where I would be super gassy. I would be constantly just uncomfortable, overeating, and that is completely gone as well. I do not pass gas pretty much all day, very, very minimally. In the morning when I first wake up, I do belch when I eat or drink. That's natural, but other than that, pretty much no stomach issues. My bowel movements are super regular. They're less in size. They're less frequent, which is awesome. It's like every other day, and it's a pleasurable experience now. Not to be too vulgar, but it definitely is. I have gained a tremendous amount of energy. Like I said, mental clarity to go along with that energy. I am now flexible enough to do yoga at an intermediate level. I use Peloton for my yoga, also for my spinning. I don't have the Peloton bike, but I have another standalone bike that I use with the Peloton app. I love it. My flexibility is amazing. Through strength training, I have gained a tremendous amount of muscle. I have muscle where I never thought I had muscle before, all over the place. I'm thinning out. My dirt bike injury has tremendously improved. It went from a watermelon-sized swelling to after the surgery is about a grapefruit size down to a softball size. Now it's floating around baseball size with the swelling. So the low inflammation diet, getting off the sugars and all the seed oils has helped tremendously with this recovery of the dirt bike accident. And I feel really, really good. I think that just covers about all the ailments that I had, that I was faced with. And all of those ailments are now pretty much cured. I'm definitely on the right path, and I know how to do it. So I hope I can help somebody else do it too. So let's talk about some of the negatives. I know we talked about consistency. It is extremely important that you do not go off the diet. If you do, fine. Pick yourself back up, brush it off, but don't let it go more than like 3 meals. You don't want to have a cheat day. I don't even like calling them cheats. Sure, you had a cheat meal. Let's call them meals that you enjoyed and can appreciate, but you shouldn't allow in your daily life. The first biggest event was I went on a bachelor party, and I did a tremendous amount of drinking. Plus, I had some meals that I shouldn't have been eating, but I enjoyed them at the time, right? And I gained quite a bit of weight. When I say gained quite a bit of weight, I was on this awesome trend. Here, we can look at my Fitbit trend. If you look here, this is my weight. And then you can see when I hit the bachelor party, it just spiked up a little bit. And then continued on. And then I got to this point, and this is the point where I went to Mexico, all-inclusive resort, 7 days. And, I was so successful. I was feeling so good. I was like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy this Mexico trip. I'm just going to go hog wild and eat whatever I want, drink whatever I want, and when I come back, I'll be good to go. That was a mistake. That was a big mistake. I realize it now, but my body changed. I gained a lot of weight that trip. Now we're talking a lot of weight. We're talking like 15 pounds over the course of a week, and it really threw my mental game off. While I could have made vodka drinks, I let myself have beer, and that was major. That was a big impact on me. And so not allowing yourself to just go down that path and saying it's okay. It's not okay. Listen to your body and really just stay focused on trying to be clean. And I think the reward will be so much greater. While I was drinking and eating all the foods that I shouldn't have been during that Mexico trip, I was thinking, yeah, this is great. I deserve this. I didn't like it. I wasn't loving myself. Eating this way and taking time for yourself and really focusing on you, that's the key. And when you're letting yourself go, that's being destructive. And while I know all too well being destructive sometimes is intentional, when you start to love yourself and really give back to you, the world changes for the better, and I hope you can realize that. So other issues that I had while at parties or weekend getaways, eating the way I want to, it sometimes just doesn't fit in. I would go to festivals, and it's hard to, bring, Scottish festivals or even music festivals, bring exactly what you need. Sorry, music festivals are easy. But like, I went to the bagpipe competition, and all the food that was around, I was so busy, was just a Togo sandwich. So I ate it. No big deal. But just don't allow that one time to turn into multiple times and you get into a bad rhythm. So yeah, that's everything in a nutshell. I am so far on a better, more healthier path than I have ever been on in my life, and I am ecstatic to continue this journey. So, like I said, with the power of YouTube, and just holding myself accountable through you guys, I'm really looking to achieve amazing things, and I hope you can share this journey with me. So yeah, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. I think a lot of things, and I'm sure you guys do too. So I'll do my best to get back to everybody. And yes, let's get fit, let's feel great, let's love life as much as we can, and can't wait to share this journey with you guys. All right, Ryan Parker, I'm out. I'll see you next week.